It's Friday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Obiajulu Ugbo, how are you doing?
Amazing. Excellent morning, ladies.
Good to see you.
Today's Friday.
Yes.
I'm going to be uploading Mama Jiro. Episode 10.
Congratulations. Well
I'm so reluctant to release this last episode because it will soon finish. And that means we have to start looking for money to go back to sets to shoot season 2 and season 3. But I'm believing that the universe will bring the money when it's time. So we're beginning to work on the script. Yes, the universe has heard. We're working on the script now. Just trying to get ready so that when the opportunity comes, we just gather our people and go on set. But
how does it feel?
I want to appreciate people who have subscribed to the YouTube channel. They're still very little. I want to believe that people like me. So please go there and subscribe. It's just about 1,000 people have subscribed to the channel.
But it's not that you've produced one. You're likely to do more.
Yes. Now people can see that she can produce, she can write, she can do this, she can act, you know, and then jobs will come. That's the idea in the first place.
Busuch TV is a household name in my house.
Are you kidding?
Is Busuch TV back on? Busuch TV.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Elijah?
I'm fine.
When are we going to Hajj?
Wow, I'm already in the Hajj mood. You can see very well. Somebody dear to my heart went on the Hajj, and from the moment she did the intention for the Hajj, till she got to the Hajj, every time she'd send me messages, Nima, I'm praying, I'm mentioning your name. You've touched my life, and you know, I must just say thank you, my Lord bless you, and may your Hajj be accepted as a complete act of ibadah. She clothed me from head to toe. Finish in the Hajj return. I have the Ajwa, the Binu, I have the Zemzem water, everything. So something that when you go to greet people that come from Hajj, they'll give you one, they will not give you the other. I have everything that I need for my prayer. So I'm saying thank you. And she's mentioned that the next Hajj, inshallah, I'll be there.
Okay, fantastic. We're waiting for you. How many years now?
No, I'm not going for you people.
Hajj
is a ritual of worship.
I'm saying that we are praying
it's not
for
that
you.
type.
No,
exactly.
Did you mention any type here?
I just said, we have been praying for you that you will go. However you get there, God will take you there. Amen.
It's the one that is for worship that I
Okay, no problem.
It's not the
Mariam, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Love your outfit.
Thank you so much. So, let me see. My kids, as usual. I think the best thing I've done for them is find them. So, there's this parent in my son's school. They live in a estate, like a really small estate, and there's so many children there. They're in each other's homes, running around. And, you know, she gave us like an open invitation. My children have been spending days there. They seem so happy and relaxed.
Sleepovers?
No, not sleepovers. Just that they spend the whole day there. They are running around, playing football. Children of like minds and like thoughts and like values. Do you understand? It's so amazing for them. Anytime I pick them up, they're tired and happy. The first time my son went before my daughter, when I picked him up, my daughter looked at me. Foki looks so happy. I said, yes. Aww. So, you know, this morning they're already asking, are we going? So sometimes I know that some I want to give them what to study, what to learn. It's also important to have them have community of their age group, you know. And if you see them, they were conversing, they met people, and there was this older girl talking to my daughter about something. And just, you know, without my input, they were actually having a conversation, and social skills are important. So
interestingly,
really
I just signed my kids up just exactly the same day. So we've discovered one also. Okay. In Magodo, and we're like, in fact, we need the kids to go out there. So we're gonna start next week. It's just good to engage them because even when they travel out of the country, they usually go to the mall
by themselves.
But there's really no activity. So some people are trying right now to when you go abroad, get a summer school, let the kids interact and have social skills, but so that it's not just about shopping and just do something during the summer. I'm pretty excited about that.
And you?
I'm fine. I walked in my closet today and said, you know, let me just dress like my mom.
Let's do mama today.
My mom's, our family driver, Barton, I mean, I called him the other day that, please, all mommy's clothes, just help me just bring it. Yeah, just bring it over.
The house.
So I've already packed everything and sort it out because it's just so many of them. In fact, for a whole year, I'll be wearing the rubber band. I think every Friday now. I am sorted.
No more.
Then after that, you can now convert to something else with the same materials.
Yeah, I'll try that.
It's timeless fabric.
Okay, let's go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll go through the front page of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Impeachment, APC moves to stop PDP, lawmakers gang up. Security Council admits Nigeria seeking self-help. Rivers to vote only PDP governor, says government. Non-remittance of dollars by NNPC behind Naira crisis, says CBN. Alaafin ruling house summons meeting over illegal aspirants. FG to sanction BBC Trust TV for glorifying bandits. Haniba's killer teacher to die by hanging. Okay, let's start with the...
Let me start with...
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start with the federal government saying that the BBC and Trust TV will be sanctioned and will not go unpunished for the recent documentary that they did on the bandits. The minister said that the way in which it was conducted sort of offered these bandits, a platform, and that if everyone knows worldwide, globally, that the media is like an oxygen to terrorism and banditry, and that the way that they went about it, it was peculiar because this is Nigeria, that they would not do it, in other advanced countries. Sort of like they took advantage, or they did not respect the fact that we also have a regulatory body that is supposed to look into it. Anyway, the minister says MBC is looking into it, and they'll make sure that they serve some sanctions for this. And if they are not registered here in Nigeria, whatever signals that they were sending over here will be stopped completely.
Interesting. Kadera Ahmed wrote an article on this, and she used a description saying that imagine a family, you're already traumatized, that your abductor has taken your child, and your child is still living through that trauma. And then her abductor, the person that abducted her, is then being interviewed by BBC.
Like
the trauma that the family would go through, just seeing that person itself, that it's wrong for them to even put that in our faces in the first place. But we'll see how that goes. Okay, so let's take another story.
The Security Council, Nigerians, National Security Council, yesterday after their meeting, and the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Mongono, was saying that, we're close to seeking help. He said, following this worsening insecurity, and I think following the call by the Northeast elders for their call for him to resign or be sacked, he was now responding that, what he calls an effective society approach will be used to combat insecurity. And the Defense Headquarters also joined voice to say that in Abuja, following the Sunday attack, where 6 officers were killed, and 2 officers and 6 soldiers were killed. He said that they're doing everything to abate the situation. There's call for calm. They are re-strategizing how to, for me, I read this article just in the hope, that what we are seeing will be reduced in some form, but it's almost like the usual narrative where they will say something is being done and it is closed because it is a security issue. And
we cannot hear
we'll then see any further attacks. The NSCDC's attack, a list of cities to be attacked is something that worries us because now Lagos too, rain will fall on top of our head according to it. So I need a reassuring comment from them, not just this type.
Comment.
Okay, so the Central Bank of Nigeria said yesterday that non-remittance of dollars to foreign reserves by the NNPC is what is responsible for the Naira's free fall in the official and parallel markets. They said at the close of day yesterday, the Naira traded for 700 to $1 at the parallel market and 415 to $1 at the official market. And they had to make a report saying that the NNPC and the subsidiaries are the sole managers of the crude oil account, which, is about 80% of Nigerians' foreign exchange. And so far, they have not been able to, put money, dollars in that foreign exchange account. So that's the excess crude account, which they said has been depleting since the month of May. And, the excess crude account is basically supposed to be a saving buffer for steady government revenue, and which is supposed to serve as bailout if anything happens in the economy. But they are saying now that they are not able to put money. There's been $0 remittance into the account. And also the fact that we are depending solely on foreign exchange. So According to the bank, it said Nigeria earns foreign exchange from 4 sources, which is the oil export proceeds, non-oil export proceeds, diaspora remittances, and foreign direct investments. And the fact that there's a lot of demand for the dollar. We have people who want to get just what we discussed yesterday, basically. And that's the reason. I was thinking they would say something like, this is some of the policies we're going to put in place to enable NNPC remit dollars to this account, but I didn't get that.
Well, we'll see that. I was going to take the major headline. So I took the story of the fact that the senators and the PDP have given the president 6 to 8 weeks to do something about insecurity, or they've been to institute the impeachment proceedings against him. And then their counterparts in the National Assembly also joined them, that's the PDP in the National Assembly, also joined us saying that they agree. And they're also going to be instituting impeachment proceedings. However, the National Secretary of the APC, Senator Omishori, was saying that this is election season. The PDP senators are whipping up sentiments. They want to demarket their party. And the Buhari administration, and also they're trying to politicize this entire process. And we'll see how that, and to compound that, the defense headquarters was saying that there is nothing to panic about following last Sunday's ambush on the Guards Brigade. You know what, they have a new strategy on what they plan to do. You know, their plan is to isolate, apprehend, and possibly prosecute all the enemies of the state who staged fatal attack. You see, we must really watch our rhetoric during this season.
True.
Because pictures don't lie. We know social media can go off, but we must really watch our rhetoric from all levels, from ground up, because to make it worse, let me not get to that story. The Governor El Rufai was saying that he was the one that broke news to our president.
This is not what we should be hearing.
Broke the news to the president that these guys threatened you.
Are you telling us our president does not pay attention?
I don't understand.
Or he does not hear?
So when somebody says I'm impeaching you, are you not even giving them more reasons
to impeach you?
Why you should be impeached? Moving on now to the punch.
Wow.
Presidential primaries, Buhari's ex-minister asked court to disqualify Tinubu and Atiku. We struggle to feed Tobi and pay her fee, says Amusan's father. Government ticket tiers, Delta PDP apart, Ibori Okwa part ways. Kano school proprietor to die for killing pupil. Lagos leads as monkeypox spreads to 26 states. Lawmakers knock Buhari presidents meet security chiefs. Passengers groan as 1-hour flight hits 75,000 naira. 4.7 million get SIM after federal government's call ban. ADAX workers begin strike. Oil production shares to 22,000 barrels per day. Okay.
So good news, and a reassurance of justice. Within a period of less than a year, the Kano State High Court, presided over by Justice Usman Nabas, sentenced Mr. Tanko Abdul Malik, the proprietor of that Noble Kids College, who kidnapped his own people and murdered the 5-year-old Hanifa to death by hanging, alongside his accomplices. And they had other charges. They were able to establish almost all the charges except one against his wife, who was given less than a year sentence for conspiracy, and I think another 1-year sentence for attempting to commit the offense. And so we know that justice was served in this. Okay. When a case is neatly investigated like this, this is what you get.
Another story?
Yeah, so update again from the NCDC, that's Nigerian Center for Disease Control. It has confirmed 136 cases of monkeypox in 26 states. A few deaths also have been recorded as of the latest report. You know, I always read the report, but I think we should take some, I want to take some responses from stakeholders, and I think this is important. Some of the stakeholders are talking about vaccines, that people need to be vaccinated, and that if they are vaccinated, there will be fewer casualties. Monkeypox is endemic in Nigeria, and that the federal government needs to look into funding the health sector better so that we have our experts come up with vaccines instead of constantly waiting on foreign countries to come up with vaccines for us, especially as this is a recurring infection in our country.
Okay, I was going to take the story of Tobi Amusan's father. So Punch had interviewed her father, and they were talking about how he initially did not support her her desire to go into sports. According to him, her mother was actually an athlete. She was a really good runner, and she got it from her mother. And yes, indeed, he burnt her shoes, as she had said, because he wanted her to be good education, focus on education, your doctor, lawyer kind of thing. But when families intervened and came to him and said, listen, let this girl be, he supported her with everything, and he's been monitoring her progress all this while. So he's very, very happy. And when the announcement was made, family friends came to their house and celebrated with him. So
do you know what I would love? Do you know what I would love? If we have a Nollywood production on Tobi Amusan's story, it will be so amazing.
I've also understood that some of the people who have really made it by sort of disobedience to their parents, because the idea the parents had is only education because of what they have been exposed to. But some children insisted that this is my path. There's nothing.
This man had a point. He said in Nigeria, sports in Nigeria, like athletics in Nigeria doesn't get you.
She has a destiny. I don't want to call it disobedience. So that, that's what they call it at the time.
Some children it both ways.
That's what you call it at the time.
Let's go on a break. And we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Yes.
Yes. So air travelers are having it very hard right now because the airfares have increased. As a result of, we know that the Jet A1 has increased tremendously. It used to be about 200, but now it's over 800 for that. And they said some of the passengers that were interviewed said 1 hour flight now goes for between 75,000 to 100,000 naira. A lot of them were complaining. One family was saying that he was planning to take his children to Abuja for the holiday, but right now he can't even afford to pay 154,000 naira from Lagos to Abuja. And a lot of them said the population that covers people who travel by air, mostly businessmen, where do they put all of this fund? Can they use all their business money to, go through the air transportation, where we know that the railways, people that have been abducted, we're still talking about it today, the roads are not really safe. And so government needs to do something to help the masses cushion the effects.
Okay, do something, do something. Need a PhD paper on this, do something.
Do something.
Reps join Senate seek Buhari's impeachment. Global economic crisis, U.S. economy enters recession as petrol sells for 1,488 naira per litre in the UK. Army kills 30 terrorists who attacked Guards Brigade. Workers raise the alarm over plots to destabilize psychiatric hospital. IPOB alleges plots by terrorists to kill Kanu in detention. 2023 presidency, only Peter Obi can rescue Nigeria, says LP. Osun governor-elect task transition committee on indebtedness, terms of repayment. Okay, which story?
Russia-Ukraine war is taking a toll on global businesses, and the United States is not left out. They said they are technically plunging into recession as we speak. So according to data published by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis yesterday, they said the GDP growth rate dropped by 0.9% in 1 year. And this is also affecting not just U.S., but Canada and United Kingdom. And they are experiencing a serious increment in petrol price due to the global energy crisis and the bent crude oil price. And they mentioned how much they are getting it now. So according to investigations, they said the average price of a liter of petrol hit $1.218 on Thursday, which is equivalent to 864 naira per litre. In Canada, the price of petrol is about 1.89 per litre, which is equivalent to 882 naira in Nigeria. UK as well, they are buying petrol now for 1.86 pounds, which translates to about 1,488 per litre. And, you know, they just went on comparing. Even the OPEC countries are not left out. I'm wondering why they are giving us the equivalent in Nigeria. Is it that we need to know that we are not paying as high as... Yes, but their system of living, the standard of life is still better than what we have here. The issue, the issues here is affecting everybody globally. and everybody needs to look inwards to solve their problem. Don't tell us how much they are paying. You are not comparing our roads to their roads. You are not comparing our education to their education. Don't compare that. So please.
Comparison is
Let us face us.
Please.
I know.
I was going to tell the story. Now I know why the defense headquarters was saying what they were saying, because now I'm reading a story. They actually killed 30 of the terrorists that attacked the guards brigade in Buari area of Abuja. According to the Defense Media Operations Major General Bernard Onyeko, it was very clear that 30 of them were killed, and that the operations was conducted by the troops of the 7th Guards Battalion and 167 Special Force Battalion, and it was an operation Well Punch between Sunday and Tuesday. The troops successfully cleared the Kawu, Ido villages, neutralizing the terrorists, destroyed the enclave and hideout, and said the groups also covered 6 motorcycles, 2 AK-47 rifles, and 1 fully loaded LMG. So that's why he's saying that it was an isolated situation where they had to attack.
You that, you know, the new threat of the 3 state cities to be attacked by, was released by the NSCDC, does this in any way reassure you? The fact is that the terrorists are getting emboldened. They are moving into the cities. They are getting stronger. They are attacking the military bases across the country. Does that you come and tell us after many 5 days that 30 people were also...
I'm sorry, I'm not a military person.
May they be unable to attack any of our bases?
They found only 2 AK-47.
So from where they went to. The raid. Guys, these are
people who have rocket launchers and everything.
We know they wait for small wins to celebrate again now. We don't pass major wins. As it be now, nobody is small wins.
Thank God we thank, of course, the people of the military for their hard work.
Jesus, you guys are so hard.
No, things is scary.
I can see, I can understand. Any other stories? Should I move on? Move on. Vanguard Insecurity Nigeria's Fed Up of People's Self-Help, says NSC. Subsidy payments, summer travel, students, exodus, worsen Naira depreciation, says investigation. I think we discussed that yesterday. Benin artifacts used defy rain protest against Obaseki's museum. FG unwilling to deal with insecurities at Feni Ferry. How Nigeria lost 131 airlines to poor management accidents in 62 years. Return to classroom or be sacked, El Rufai tells striking KASU lecturers. How ex-AGF orders stole 84.7 billion of the $2.2 billion meant for 9 oil proceeding states, says EFCC. Wike's presence necessary for final phase of PDP's reconciliation. And INEC's position on party primaries monitored by Rex, says Festus Okoye.
So EFCC gave a breakdown on how this 84.7 billion of the how the ex-AGF and others stole 84.7 billion of $2.2 billion meant for 9 producing states. So it's a full breakdown. It will take up too much time to break it down, but it's good for people to read. It names exactly the people that collected the money, how much they collected, and how it was transferred from Naira to dollars. But then they say, I think this is important, it says they invited the defendants, they reported and volunteered their statements under word of caution. They admitted receiving these monies, and the investigation is still underway to recover. And meanwhile, we know that the ex-AGF also secured a 5 billion Naira bail.
Okay,
so the Benin youth under the name Coalition of Benin Sociocultural Organizations are protesting against the governor's proposal of a dome museum for West African arts, MOA, that is supposed to house the returned artifacts. And they are proposing that instead of that, they should take up the Oba of Benin's idea of the Benin Royal Museum opposite the Benin Palace that would house this artifact. So the Oba of Benin had suggested to build a museum opposite this palace where the artifacts will be placed and be seen. And the governor has an idea of creating what he calls the Edo Museum of West African Art, which he believes will house it. So this youth are against the governor and protesting that they should follow the idea of the Oba of Benin and put the artifacts there. So
in addition to the story you took earlier, saying why the Naira to the dollar had increased, this report by Vanguard investigation was saying that additional factors caused it, aside from the fact that NNPC wasn't remitting. It says that other factors including forex demand for summer travels,
Yes.
Exodus of Nigerian students and activities going schooling abroad. Activities of politicians buying up dollars in preparation for 2023 elections. Those are the real factors.
I'm telling you.
Politicians, because we saw them displaying it at their primaries recently. So there was dollar there, and Nigerians are also mopping up dollars to pay for school fees by September.
True.
Many are traveling for the summer holidays also. So
I'm so happy that this article highlighted this because Nigerians can see the direct impact of these activities.
Somebody was saying yesterday that if you school abroad, right, and you live there, after you graduate, you live there and you work, and you remit, you're helping the Nigerian economy.
Yeah,
but if you school abroad, you come back, that money that took you there is
gone. It's wasted. The little one we're managing here.
We're hoping that when you come back, you're coming back with
so if you come back,
knowledge
now start a business that will help
innovation.
But the truth is that
they come and take the small jobs that we are hustling for.
We have to really think about it.
There's this sad story before you quickly move on. Olalekan Olaniyan, who in 2017 was unlawfully arrested for a crime he did not commit. So he said that particular 3 days before there was a robbery in their area, and they all went to sympathize with the people who were robbed. Only for that was his birthday. He heard a knock on the door and he was expecting his friends were coming to surprise him, and he saw policemen and some elders in the village saying that he was he was needed at the police station. By the time he got there, he was accused of being one of the armed robbers. And before he understood what was happening, he was taken to SARS. They tortured him so much. He said he spent about 3 weeks there before they even took the matter to court and pulled all his front teeth. You know, till today, he doesn't have his front teeth. And now he spent how many years in jail?
This guy.
Yes. How many years? I think about 4 years before I think a non-governmental organization helped and they got him out. So he's appealing to Nigerians now that he needs to be able to fix, even if it's the artificial one, because he really looks horrible with that teeth. He can't eat very well. He can't chew and all that. And he was not guilty of the offense.
Well, I wish there must be compensation.
Exactly. They're going to have to compensate him.
Absolutely.
No, there must be. And, you know, since the panel was put together, I hope that, you know, there's a...
He presented his case.
There's a class compensation that covers him.
Hopefully. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, during the paper review, we discussed, we took a story about Tobi Amusan's victory and how her father admitted that he initially wanted her to focus on her education. And he didn't think running or focus on athletics was the way for her, especially when we live in a country where those who engage in athletics are not always pushed forward or get into the international stage. So he was quite worried. And this brought up the question of young people today. What are the options we give our children? Do we encourage them to disobey our directives because they are passionate about what they want to do? Or do we think the onus is still on the parents to direct a child based on what you know society would give or not give this child? So that's our conversation today. How best do we raise children in this modern times, especially when they have a talent that is completely different from the academic path? That's our conversation. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-3907-694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. I was sharing with you that my husband just came home and said, all his friends are signing up their children for all this athletics, so that's the head up, but there's one in this place in Magodo. We have to go and sign up our children. I said, what's the issue with athletics? This Tobi Amusan thing. All the summer schools now are now adding athletics to their lineup. And I'm thinking, people are just so reactive in this country. What's your problem? So everybody's thinking talent. But in all the talent, should we still, how do you help a child? I mean, how does a parent, when a child says, I want this, and I say, no, you burn the shoes, you take the ball, you take everything, and you say, no, you must follow education. How do we know? How do we find a strike of balance?
Okay, so don't, this is a very silly girl. So, you know, during the time of our own parents, they did the best they could do with the resources available to them, with the knowledge available to them. And that's what every parent does, because you are a guardian. You want to be able to guide these children, and you have experienced some things, you have seen some things with your society, and you don't want to guide them wrongly. You want them to be the best. But we forget most of the time that we do not have the blueprint of these children. They are full-blown souls and spirits by themselves, and they have their part, my sister. They have their part. So what we can begin to do is to, while we tell them that these are the basics, we should listen and pay attention to where their passion lies and the drive within. So what our parents did in the first place was to say, education is the key. You must go to school. You must do this. You must do that, without really paying attention to those things that really interest the child. And some children were able to say, okay, this is what daddy says. I can't do this thing anymore. And they left that path and forgot about it. Some children are more insistent in their will to say, but I can do both. And sometimes they go through the way of disobedience. I use myself as a personal example. I remember when I was growing up, I was so much in love with football. My father is an athlete, by the way, and he got his scholarship, University of Ife, through, I think it was Delta State he was running for at the time. Always had, growing up, I see medals in his room and all that. He was really good. So he went to school with his talent. The talent paid for his fees. But, so he wanted me in his mind to pick up athletics. But I wasn't good in that. I loved football. And I remember him going to the coach to warn him, if I see my daughter there, they will break her legs. Her legs are too tiny. If I see her there, you'll be in trouble. And the coach drove me. I fell in love with handball. He went there and still warned the coach that because he's a sports person, he goes there, he knows what's up. He said that this game was too, what's this word? Was too aggressive for me, that I should play volleyball. Volleyball was boring to me. So I quickly left the whole sports for him. And I faced beauty pageantry as my direction, which he had a major problem with. I will not pay your school fees. I will be in Asaba. They will call me in Port Harcourt. They will see in the newspapers, blah, 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 blah. But to him, I was disobedient. But at the end of the day, it paid off. I remember when I won my car, and I called him, Daddy, I just won a car. You have to come with somebody to come and pick up this car in Warri. And that was when my father relaxed. Imagine if I did not follow my passion. Okay. So now that we are growing up and we are raising our own children, we need to tell them, for instance, my father insisted that for you to do any other thing, give me your certificates. You must be good in your grades, then you can follow your path. We can have that sort of insistence that give me this and this. Then let's see how your path comes.
In a nation where you actually hardly have opportunities, especially when it's at academia. You hardly have, we're all preaching entrepreneurship. We're trying to get our children to have something more than just the education. But parents still believe that if you don't have that education, no matter what you do, you cannot find that footing in life. Do you think we should still direct these children, Mariam, or do you think we should allow them find their own path and disobey somewhat?
No, I feel that we have to balance it. We're older, and we're coming from experience. We have lived in our country long enough, we know what we can do. They are coming with a whole new vision about their lives. They have no fears, they have, they see no risk, they just want to live their lives. But we are there to also help guide them. Many people would say, what my mom used to say is that you must have a plan B, plan C, plan D. But I've heard people, especially motivational speakers, say people that have more than a plan A are just planning to fail. Because if you have one plan, you will face it. I don't really agree. I don't agree with that. I feel, especially if you're home, if it's Nigeria that is your country, with the way things keep changing, it's always good for them to have something that they can fall back on. I've seen people who, we talk about musicians today, the Wizkids and Davido, but they are not the only musicians in Nigeria. There are so many more who are struggling. I get into Uber once in a while. People are trying to give me their CDs or whatever demos that they have done. And they are constantly struggling, but they have the Uber that they are doing on the side or education certificate that they have on the side. So a parent is looking at you know, best case scenario and worst case scenario. Parent wants best case scenario for their child, but also understands, okay, given this environment that you're from, let's see, if worst case scenario, you have something that you can fall back on. It's good to have that. Now, concerning this particular person, that Tobi Amusan, and how the dynamics of her own family, I think luckily for her, she had a mother that understood, and they were able to do it behind the father's back until she got to where... I have a personal story with my son. My son has always wanted to play football. But, you know, you see my son, I just feel like, what football is he going to play? And he would insist. I took him instead to taekwondo, like, I just need him to be firmer and stronger. He would do it because I put him there. And one thing with him is he will do his best. Once he starts, he will try and do his best. His uncle came one time and just took him to a football club. And before we knew it, the first day we went to go and pick him up, I always say this story, it makes me laugh every time. We went to pick him up, he had joined this club, and we went to pick Foge up. And we're now looking on the bench because we definitely did not expect him to be playing. We're looking at the bench to see our son with this. Instead, we were now head on the go, Foge, pass it for her. And when we left, parents were hailing us, your child plays football. I'm like, really? Is that great? And the father now made it a point of duty to be dropping him every time. And every time he comes and says, do you know another parent now told me that this boy is very good? The boy was insistent on what he wanted. And he took his uncle coming from the outside to, you know, take that. So parents should also listen to what their children's passions are. Sometimes we think they may be too young, they don't know what they want. But as long as it's not something that will hurt them physically or mentally or emotionally, we can try and encourage them and be there to see how it affects them.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing how to help our children, especially when they have a talent and when you know that they're growing up in Nigeria, because there's a possibility that we don't have all the facilities to help push these talents. So how do you ensure that our children still are well-rounded? Nima, your thoughts on this Tobi Amusan story?
So we seem to think that it's easy for parents to make these choices for you, or that it's just easy when they push you this way or that way, that they don't have times when they second guess their decisions or when they even doubt their entire decision. You think, when I was growing up, what my parents considered my talents were things I enjoyed doing, and they allowed me to do them. So I had a childhood of play, serious play table tennis, play football. I would play. When I'm tired, I come home and sleep. But when it was time to do the things they considered my future career path, it was tough. I saw my parents would sit with my elder sister. I remember my father wanted my eldest sister to go to a school in the UK then. He got the forms, and her first jam, she had a seriously high score, but the WAEC wasn't out at the time. And I saw every night, because I am discerning, I would hear my parents argue about how this is tough, how this has to be, what, costs. And my sister was every day, if I'm not going, daddy, So sometimes we are just children. So when it was time for me, I did not stress them. Even, I always say, my choice of marriage, I don't stress my parents. I always believe that they are also thinking of, I trusted them. And so when I needed to disagree with them, it would be a sit down and talk disagreement. You see this thing, I know how you feel about it, but this is why I want to do it. And so I saw that I usually earned their trust, and it seemed like it was easy. On the other side, it wasn't. As a parent, every time, I am now a parent myself, I'm worried about how I will be in the future. So what I'm doing is what was done to me. Expose my children to everything they consider talent to be. Let them play at it and have fun at it. Where I need to be a parent and protect them, because it's the protection part, I do it. And I'll say, this is why we are doing it. I'm not denying you this, but if I think you're capable of handling it, or you're capable of handling yourself, you can do it. And sometimes, I have turned my daughter away from sports. She's good in sports now. She's in athletics and all of that. I'm worried about some of these injuries because I saw my brother as a footballer. One time, all my younger brother's life, all of his life, he had health issues. My parents were protective of him because of his health. The guy wanted to play football. They didn't sign for him. I always signed as his parent on all the forms. I paid for some of the registration for his football career. At one time, somebody just gave him an accident, broke his calf halfway in between. We treated him for months, and that career ended. So I'm worried about my daughter too, that we won't, accident just happened.
But there have been stories.
It's not easy for parents.
People who can tell you categorically it was because their parents forced them this path. That today they are successful. Their father said, you know what, you're going to do engineering, you're going to do this. And today they have jobs in big companies. And they're so happy that there's one in particular. That's like he was so playful. His father stopped him from playing, got him a lesson teacher. All he was doing was reading. Come from school, take 30 minutes out, go back and get your books. That the father drilled him for so many years. Today, he's working in an oil company outside the country. I think in Saudi Arabia or something. And he's happy.
Yeah, that's the most important
thing. When parents hear these stories, they're also forced to say, stick to the education, stick to the academics, stick to it. Because in future, at the end of the day, that's the only one that is guaranteed. Athletics is not guaranteed. Football is not guaranteed. Music talent is not guaranteed. It's only the 0 point. Yes, there's a time frame. So the only one that I know that you have something for life is this path. Yeah. Is it wrong for parents to stop their children from doing that?
Mariah, I've also seen that nothing is guaranteed. There are no absolutes in life. I've also seen people with first class today that they are begging. They are still looking for jobs. So it's not about that. What I'm worried about is there are two things. One, let us not live through our children. So what I see is some parents who did not have a particular life now want to impose it on their children. Oh, because I struggled to be a lawyer, I did not have that opportunity, you must read law. And they stand on it without paying attention to what the child wants to do and what the child needs. And it's okay to do something and fail. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are no longer successful because you failed at it. You keep trying it till you finally get it. So we must have that balance. The second one is, let's not allow our limiting beliefs based on the experiences we've had hold our children down. Because I tried it, it did not happen. Or because Lagbaja went this way and it didn't work. If my child goes this way, it will not work. The beautiful thing about this is we are more mature now. We have more knowledge than our parents have. And it's very important that we observe. Our job, like Nima mentioned, is to protect the child. So there are times you will say, I put my foot down, you will do this for now. But there are times also that you will relax and say, okay, let's try it your way and see how that goes. And also depending on the age of the children. So I tell my child, saying that, right now, he doesn't want to do school. He tells me, Mommy, I don't want to. I can make money without going to school. I say, as long as I'm the one making the decisions in this house, till you get to a certain age where the decisions will now be handed over to you to rule your life, you will go to school under my roof or carry your bags and leave my roof. But he may get to a point when he gets to that age where he can be responsible for himself. And he looks at me and says, Mommy, I don't want to do this. What am I supposed to do? I will allow him.
So let me take this call. That balance. Aya from First Stack, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Good morning.
This is I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I always, in fact, watch your show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're all doing well. Now, based on this discussion, I want to make a little contribution. Please, my advice is that do not stop your child or your children from exercising their God-gifted gift. You understand me? I played lawn tennis for Western region. I was the secondary school singles champion for 3 years. My father was not educated. My mother was not educated. I played for Lagos State. I played in Lagos State. I won the junior championship twice. Then I played for Nigeria for 3 years, lawn tennis. Then I moved to the U.S. When I got to the U.S., I played lawn tennis. And I got scholarship before God and man from 5 universities.
Wow.
So I decided which one I wanted to go. I ended up in Chicago, where I know. So therefore, but what I'm trying to bring out is that, please, let these children exercise their talents.
Thank you very much, Ayo. Okay. Are you still there, Mr. Ayo?
For 4 years. Eh? Okay, you say what?
Mariam has a question for you.
Okay, I was just going to say, can you recommend a tennis coach for my daughter, please?
We'll get
Why
you.
not? Why not?
Like
okay.
You see, I live in first part.
Okay.
That is telling even my own son, my last son, I registered him to play lawn tennis.
Right.
In first part.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayo, because the reason why I wanted to come in here, I understand athletics. Well, see, I speak to some parents. The in thing now, I'm an artist. I want to sing. You know, I have a talent. Every young person has a music talent. They're either rapping, they are singing, they are boogaing, they are doing, they all just want to do their hair because they're now teenagers, 14, 15-year-old. They want to do their hair, color their hair, you know, because for them, listen, I am a future Davido. So parents are now faced with, is this song now? Are you going to snap? So how do I get the child to snap out of this Davido mentality and say, listen, focus on your books? Or do we say, because he's singing Davido, we should allow him to continue singing Davido? Because it's not everybody that become a Davido. Of course. So the parents are faced with that right now.
Yes, I remember one story of a Chinese entertainer. It was a big story then on the international news. His parents, he comes from a very wealthy family, and his parents had sent him to one of these Ivy League schools, and he was insisting on doing entertainment. So they asked him to do his 4-year course, and when he's done, he can be anything he wants to be. Yeah. He so much wanted to be that entertainer. He finished a 4-year course in 2 years. He had nothing to, and he finished he did so well. And of course, they let him do, you know, what he wanted, but they're also pleased that he's good enough to have earned his degree, and of course, good enough to do it in a short time. And I've heard stories of the Zuckerbergs, the Steve Jobs, and what's his name, Microsoft guy, Bill Gates. Bill Gates' story, they would tell you that his mother was very much a part of him doing what he has become today. She pushed them, especially him. It was something that they noticed in childhood. She pushed him towards computers. She bought his first computer and everything. But we've heard of the others who had to hide to do it because their parents didn't understand. Some of them didn't even own the computers in their houses. They went to someone's house. So they're just different paths to get there. The thing is to recognize your child's determination. So I say to young kids when I'm talking to them is, if you really want to do it, if you sit with your parents and explain to them what you want to do, your parents would ask you to make a compromise. And you need to prove to your parents that you want it so badly, you're willing to do this, go halfway for them, and they'll go halfway for you. Yeah. They need to understand that the first thing, the most important thing is that your parent is doing this because they want the best for you. You see this youthful exuberance of the hair. You will see those who are pushing for it and those who will eventually just drop it on the way. You will see they will grow it.
See, now, let me give you an instance with me personally. You know, when these talents come like this, I want to express, I want to show them. I'm very grateful for my father's insistence on education. You must go to school. Any other thing you want to do, you can do. And I had that at the back of my mind, and I kept proving to him that my argument was always, but Daddy, I'm not failing now. Daddy, I'm not failing. Did anybody call you that I'm failing? I'm not failing now. And he will now calm down a bit because I knew where I was going. I was so, as a young person, I want to sing, I want to dance, I want to act. Your eye will clear. Your eye will be neat. Because now when the singing and dancing and every other thing I was doing did not work for me, what worked for me? I fell back to my education. And thank God I had it. And now I'm in a better position for me to express all of those talents. So it's just for you to present it to your children to say, this is just in case these other ones don't work.
I need to wrap up on this but I'd like to take your final comments and we're done with this.
So there's also the part of everything falling into place at the end of the day. So for your parents, they've lived their life. For a child, never lose the respect of your parents in advocating what you consider a talent. For me, for instance, I wanted to, at some point when Jam was not qualifying for the law course, to come and do media. My parents said, no, law, with all that we have seen in you, is law. But today, where am I? So leave it all. And, you know, don't lose family because of it. Some children think that it's rebellion that you must bring in. Leave it. At the end of the day, will fall into place.
Fantastic. I think we can end on that. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, bringing our first guest, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Join us on the show is the very first Miss Nigeria wheelchair model, Rita Ofili. She was selected alongside women from 27 countries to participate in this event. Join us on the conversation. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC as we welcome Miss Rita Ofili in the building.
Yes,
Rita Ofili,
Queen.
Miss Wheelchair Nigeria. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Where are you from?
I'm from Delta State.
The name Ofili.
Right. So how did you come about this competition? How did you find out about it? And how did you get selected?
Before I commenced on the Ask question, I want to say thank you to TVC Communication. I want to say thank you to the producer. And I want to say thank you to every one of us here. Thank you so much for having me. And I want to say thank you for to my promoters, great dynamics, great talents. I want to say thank you for being there for me. Thank you.
Pageantry.
Rocher. Beauty queen things.
How did you get into the competition?
Yes, I got into Miss Wheelchair 2022 through internet.
Okay.
Facebook precisely. I was supposed to participate in 2017, and there was no fund for me to participate. But then this one, during the coronavirus, we had a virtual competition. We were about 7 Nigerians who actually entered the competition, and I happened to win. And I emerged the winner to represent Nigeria.
Yes, so Nigeria know they carry last. Please tell us,
you.
what were the things that made you stand out?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, is exposure.
Okay.
2, confidence.
Yes.
3, having the love of your family. Despite the disability, they stood ground for me. I believe they gave me the best. So without this quality, that's actually made me, and education, because that's one of the key as well. We need to know who I am, and God himself, because, yes. So all these things actually made me stood out, and I applied, and I emerged the winner to represent my great country, Nigeria.
Oh, congratulations.
Again.
People with disability would usually say that they don't have enough representation in places and, in decision-making, in places where it matters. Now that you have this platform, how do you plan to, to advocate more about their plight, conditions, and rights that they have to places and provision for certain amenities that will make life easier?
Everywhere in Nigeria has a representative, and I have come to tell Nigerians, Africa, that queens reign on the chair. It's just a mobility aid that helps us to move from point A to point B. And me being a representative of my great community of people with disability, be it visual impaired, be it physical, be it, because there are some disabilities that are not obvious. Yes. But then I'm representing my community for them to know that we live, we exist, and have come to voice. And we all are joining hands to say, yes, these people live, and there is no limitation. Yes, coming from the angle of people with disability, I'll be talking about accessibility in every organization, in every company, in everywhere, structures, buildings. Accessibility is very important, and inclusion is very a key life to everyone living on planet Earth. If every other person as a human exists, that means people with disability exist. If we have all these things put in place, equality, respect, recognition, that these people live, forget the fact that she's physical challenge, she's on a wheelchair, she's crawling, or she's rolling, but in as much as we live, there must be an adaptability to aid people with disability.
Right.
Well done.
So you live...
I love you already. Let me ask you, please. Sorry. Mariah, I have not asked the question. I should not ask. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what were some of the perks you got with this crown?
Some of the perks I got from Nigeria or...
From the people who organized the competition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What did you win?
What did you win?
What did I win? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had some monetary, like about $250. I was able to put some things together, and that's it. Then they sent the crown to me.
Nice.
Wow.
So are you going to Mexico October 21st to 30th?
Yes, I'll be traveling to Mexico. If we all make it possible, I'll go. But if you don't make it possible, I'm not going.
Who's going to make it?
All of us here in Nigeria, both you and I.
We have to fund it? Nigerians have to fund it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you have to make your way to Mexico by yourself?
Yes, please.
Oh, great. Okay, so when is it? October 30?
No, October 23rd. I'll be traveling 21st or 22nd of October.
So is there a company that is organizing it for you? Are you doing, or you're going individual? Is there somebody who's managing you, taking you there?
Promotion?
My promotion team, Great Dynamics Talents. For now, they are the ones, making it possible that I'm here, going places, writing letters to companies, trying to put funds together for me to get there. But we've not gotten what is expected. We're kind of, struggling and stuff like that. You know how it is? Yeah.
I'm hoping that, you get the fund and support that you need. YourView is a huge platform, and I know a lot of people watching would love to support you. But quickly, we've seen the Paralympic Games, Nigerian team at the Paralympic Games excelling exceedingly every year back to back. Do you think that going to Mexico would mean that you might emerge the world queen?
Yes, people with disability, we have these potentials. When we do things, we do it to perfection. That we must win.
Really from Delta?
Yes. Being a positivity mind person, go-getter, for every person with disability, none of us has ever failed. Honestly, because we put all our might, our energy, telling you, because people might see the negative part of it, refusing to see the positive part of it, then we know the energy, we know the God we have in us, we know who we are, and we just put hands in everything, then we emerge winner.
I believe in you as well.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap up.
Okay.
For one further question. So, go ahead.
Okay, it's just that, you've got sass, you're feisty and everything. And I just want to know, personally, do you, your ability, your special ability, has it in any way, has it been tough for you, having your personality to be in a wheelchair? I'm asking this because I know a few people who may have, one disability or the other and decide that I would never be happy, I would never try. And here you are, beautiful smile, lovely personality, doing things.
Generally, I'm speaking from my community. We all live with pains every day. Yeah. As we speak right now, sitting down uprightly is even painful.
I can tell. I've been looking. I'm
trying to tell you, listen, relax.
In everything we do in life, there is pain. Both able person, both disabled person. It's all about you having control, saying, I live in this pain, and just know, okay, this is where I want to be, despite the pain. This is who I want to be. This is what I want. This is who I want to become. Forget the pain, because the pain is a mirage. They are not real, but it's there. Yes, I'm disabled, but I'm not saying I see myself as a beautiful queen.
You are, girl.
I see myself as someone who is smart. I see myself as someone who can own the world, who can control the world, who can be a leader. I see myself as someone who can empower myself and other persons with disability. I see myself who can add a quarter positively in Nigerian economy, socially, economy. Other words.
I'm more relaxed now. All right, so we have to wrap up, but what's our final message on Nigeria? Obviously, you want us to support you as you travel, because this is important, and you're going to be representing us in Mexico and hopefully bring back the crown. So how do we reach to support you? Is there a website we can go to? Is there a page? What do we do to go to find you?
Okay. You can support. I just want to say thank you to Nigerians, because I know we are hospitable people. And thanks to TVC for having me. So I believe with this channel and platform, you can reach out to great dynamics talent. We have our numbers. Scroll down on social medias, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere you can find social media handles. We're all there. And you can actually reach out to the producer. I believe he has my contact, and he can reach out to me through that. So that's the avenue. And to you all here now, beautiful ladies, all of you are going to empower me.
Thank you.
Okay, so Great Dynamic Talent is on Instagram. I just
Yes.
All right. That's all we can take. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful.
We're going to break. We'll come back and move on to our next topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Our next guest joined us, an award-winning lawyer, president of Digital Music Commerce and Exchange Limited. In June 2022, she was accepted into the Grammys Recording Academy alongside other notable African entertainers and entertainment executives. She's also known as the leader in African entertainment, because she's consultant for many entertainment companies and artists like Chocolate City, Premier Records, Boomplay Music, K1 The Ultimate, Tenny, Dekunle Gold.
Rocher.
You look small but mighty.
I'm telling you.
Welcome with us. Foza Oyikosola Fayemi. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So one of the reasons why we like to celebrate women who are doing great things, because we also like to inspire people out there that, listen, any career you're in, you can find role models. And African entertainment is one area that many lawyers don't really look into, because many entertainers go into these agreements without knowing, dotting the I's and crossing the T's so that they can benefit themselves. Tell us a bit about your career. How did you get into African entertainment? What led to it? And how is the business going?
First of all, I'm happy to be here. I love you. I love your show.
Oh, really? Thank you.
So I started out in 2010 or 8, thereabout, in 300 level. And it was just literally, I was walking on the corridors of Babcock University, and I saw some guys making some beats, and I went there. I tried to rap. It took me like 1 week to write one verse, and I knew that was not my career. So, but I got the song, went to Lagos then from school, spoke to Tosin Bucknor, rest her soul, and she played it on radio. By the time I got back to school, I was a superstar. They were like, oh, you got our songs on radio? And they were like, oh, manage us. And I was like, I don't know anything about that. And I continued. Then we started working. Then I just knew when I went to study law, I was angry. I was just angry. I wanted to study law, to deal with people. I didn't have a clear purpose, but I loved music. And I found out about the course called Intellectual Property Law. And I started researching, and I found this woman, just one woman that was an entertainment lawyer for Africans, and that was Miss Uduak. And that she became my mentor, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do going forward. And people, immediately I came out of school, it was just straight up entertainment law. People thought I was crazy, I was mad, because we were like, oh, you're very smart, you have good grades, you should work in one of these big law firms. And I was like, nah. I tried it, but I was very miserable. And I was just like, I can't be working out and be miserable. I'll be happy. So it was straight up into entertainment law, and I've been doing this for almost a decade, but as a lawyer, 8 years. So it's been an interesting journey.
You're just an epitome of, it's not about the package. It's not about the size, And I know that looking at you, a lot of young people who do not seem to have a form of direction would be so inspired that, wow, she even started when she was in the university. Tell me some of the challenges you faced along this path. Having this, little package, and then going to speak to big people, and they're looking at you like, who's this person?
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday. We were talking about, like, I was saying I wanted to go back on low court, and he was like, oh, no, you're going to look like you're in SS2.
Don't dare.
And when I go and ask for, like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to raise $2 million, they're like,
who are you again?
Yeah, like, who?
You have $2 million naira.
Yeah, like, who sent you,
So guess I can't.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's like, I love the way I look, because it's very unassuming, but I also just enjoy my small stature. Like, one of the sad things for me is I always have to sew my clothes. I can't buy off the shelf. But I really love it, and I just feel like when I get into the room, because of that problem I had a problem, not even the problem of sexism for me, it was more of like ageism for me, like you're very young, So for me, it was just anytime I enter a room, I make sure that when I open my mouth, you can't forget me.
You have values.
So that was my strategy, So every time if I go for a conference, I raise up my hand, I try to ask the most intelligent question in the room, that everybody looks back and like, who's this? Who's that? So yeah, that was kind of like my strategy.
So you see, the thing about entertainment, everybody would think is so laid back, they don't really send, and here you are saying that you're very deliberate about how you speak and represent yourself and your clients. But what exactly does it mean to be an entertainment lawyer? Someone's watching and like, what is that even? And do they make money?
Oh yeah, now we're making money. When I first started, it was such a green space. We only had very few people that we could look up to. And one of the notable persons was Efere Ozak, or rest his soul, but he was in film. He was in film. So when I came into the music, I love music. I do film too, but music has more of my heart, and I've done a lot of solutions. So for me, it was coming into the industry and knowing that there was, in the pie, there was really no money to pay lawyers. So I had to create revenue streams for my clients. So that's kind of like the difference between myself and other lawyers, is that we do a lot of legal and business developments for these people to create extra revenue streams for them. Then I get my money, I get paid. So, and it's those structures. So that led me into a different part of creating structural solutions for the industry, which now has led, I'm transitioning from just being a lawyer to being a full, I've always been a music business executive because I've worked as a manager, I've worked as a publisher, I've worked in different streams.
You know, so I've been in this industry long enough to know that we've had issues with intellectual property. We've had issues, and I've seen the fact that many artists are frustrated because their music just gets played anyhow. So somebody had an event, a public event, they couldn't tell the artist, they couldn't pay royalties to the artist, and they used the music for a public event. So, for example, I think one of the primaries or one of these things, I think Timmy Dakulu was saying that you used my music, you didn't even ask me for it. Abroad, you don't dare that because you pay for it. But how do we get to that structure where every time you use an artist's song, you pay some kind of royalties to that person? Are we there yet?
So currently now we have the structure of COSON going. So for every TV, radio, everywhere you play, COSON collects that money. But we've had a long-standing situation of back and forth legal battles with our CMOs, as collective management organization. But it's better than what we had 7 years ago. COSON is working, but not effective as much as we want it, especially in this global stage as we are. But we have people actively working to ensure that it works. So it's, I think, for every time I speak, I think like it's education, because a lot of the audience feel like what we do is they're entitled to it. So it's like it's property. I spend money to create property. For me to put out one album can cost as much as 150 million, naira. And the guy on the other end just feels like, oh, I should download. Am I not using my data to listen to your music?
I can copy this.
Yeah, I can copy this. I can use that. So it's fundamentally the education for me. Because if you understand that I put up a building in Agege, that building costs money. You can't just enter there and leave there. So that's the training and the education that has to start from primary school. Because in schools too, you photocopy books. I feel like it's cool and it's chill. Those are IPs. And that's kind of like what we've done with our law firm, moving now into DMC, which is the music. So basically, we're managing intellectual property. So even for people that have died, we manage that property, and with the government, and we tell them that this thing makes money, and we need to manage it properly. So we're getting there slowly, but which is why I tweeted something some days back and saying that we're at a very important point in our lives, because right now we have 1.4 billion people in Africa, and 70% is less than 35, which means that intellectual property, creativity is going to be like exploding. So it's like if we are voting in people that don't understand the weight of IP, because it's not just farming, it's not just for you to solve farming problem, it's IP. Because you have to think about the tech. For you to, do payment solution, it's creativity, it's tech. So it's like if we don't have people that pay attention to IP, we're going to be in serious trouble.
I was talking with a lawyer sometimes, because I'm a lawyer as well, about intellectual property and the practice of it here, and he says no, it's different here. How different exactly is it from what what obtains outside the country?
It's not actually different, because I deal with a lot of, the only thing that different are laws. So it's like, that's the only, different conversation.
So should we be making more laws, to empower?
Yes. So now, I mean, the Copyright Act, I know the Trademark Act, we're actively trying to revamp the trademark registry. The Copyright Bill, I was reading yesterday that the Senate, it has finally passed the third reading. So hopefully before, the president goes, there's an assent on that, because we've not changed that law in 24 years. I will move from traditional to digital.
Change many things.
So that's an exciting thing for us. But we're pushing, we're working. It's way better than when I started, And now we can show, like, I was telling to someone that the music industry, when you get it right, is minting money. We're still the only industry making money in dollars right now consistently.
Whoa. I'll come back to you there. There's an issue with patent laws that I think that we're not even there yet when it comes to something you create. So many of us create, she makes clothes. She creates a design which she can't own. Somebody else replicates that design. Go on social media, somebody's design, you go and take it, give it to your tailor to make. These are intellectual property. Somebody's put together a recipe. You trying to make a nice cookie. You put some nice cute things in there, you know, and you do it. It sells. Somebody takes it, and so we're not even there yet where I can lay claim to patent. Like, this is my patent. What are you? I mean, this is entertainment, but what can you as a lawyer do? What do you think we can begin to do to help ensure that people start owning patents for things that they creatively did themselves?
So I love when a lot of us, like, we don't like to try because we already see the problems that Nigeria So it's like enforcement. I tell my clients.
So we have the law.
We have the laws, but it's how to work it. Like, for example, publishing was such an alien thing 5-6 years ago, where artists just feel like, as long as I pay you 30K, I own the beats. But the law was very different until some of us, like 4 of us stood up and four lawyers were like, yo, this is wrong. You know, the interpretation of this law is wrong. And the first thing we had to do was to go against, like, all your favorite songs. So imagine someone coming 3 years later and saying, you don't own the beats. You know, so everybody's looking at you like, oh, you're a wicked person, you're a vile person, but that's enforcement. So we did that for a year. Now, producers would never release the songs to you if you don't sign agreement. So it's the culture of enforcement, right? So and education. So if I've registered a patent on an invention, or I've copyrighted my book or something, and you take it, the question is, am I motivated enough to go and enforce my... So we have a huge problem with enforcement. You know, and one of the things we're pushing is to have a special IP court that makes things faster. But I've personally pushed some things to get enforcement done. It has been distasteful. It has cost me, like, people don't like him. But it's like, we need it to work. So right now, you see a lot of cases in music because now someone knows that at the back, like, in a year, I can make $1 million from one beat. Or from one writing. So why wouldn't I spend that money to go and
start please? You can start it. So one of the problems I had when I was singing was the fact that because I was just starting out, and a lot of other musicians and artists out there have a problem of getting to blow first. So you do your music, and then you have to just give it away. You find people in Alaba to give the music to, and everybody just spreads it because you are still looking for that relevance. And so a lot of good work is lost in anybody can have access to it. Let me just make a name. And it has impoverished a lot of artists, especially those ones who focused on this is all I have to do. You see them, you feel for them. They are great, they have good songs, but because they have not been picked yet, so maybe the song hasn't sensationalized yet, they are still struggling. They're putting out the work there, but they're not getting anything in return. How do we begin to, I'm glad that you're in this industry, to help them understand that is there any way to even help them understand that they can still make something even though the songs are not that big yet?
Oh, yes. And it's, you see, when you said they think we're chilled, we're relaxed, there's a lot of mathematics and analysis. Right now, it's not easier that, you know, you can have a song and make stable income to an extent without being
very popular.
Very popular. But it's very strategic and very, like, it's a science. You know, it's a science that needs to be studied and you have to put in the work. But a lot of us right now, most of the clients that I start working with, I try to educate them first. It's like, you can be popular and be broke, but you're not going to be popular and broke with me because you have to pay my own money.
I like that.
So I need you to be popular and making money. You can make money without being popular. You know, and it's just sitting down with the brand to understand which direction the brand go to. And so for me, it's just really education about how to do things differently. The way A does stuff shouldn't be the way B will do stuff. Like, if you're an alternative artist, why are you spending all your money trying to be pop? You know, so those are the conversations and dynamics we always have to have at every point in time, and which also affects the way you find funding. So I have an artist that we just came back from Spain. Nobody knows that, like, you know, on the offline stage, like in terms of performing, she's a superstar. She's known. But like on mainstream radio, she isn't. So we've gone to Europe. We're starting a tour in Europe. You might not know her yet on top 10, but she's across the country, across Europe, you know, organizing a different concert, and she's going to get paid for it because she understands her market and she's going towards that direction. And for someone like me that helps artists to raise money, it's making a case in that direction as opposed to saying, oh, I want to spend 500 million trying to blow in Nigeria when the Gen Z audience doesn't
understand what you're saying.
Understand what you're saying with that music.
So you're sort of giving me hope now to go back to music.
Yes.
Wow.
Because I ran away. So I need to ask you, this intelligence, was it just these 8 years? Did they born you with it? Because you have put it, the intelligence, and just, you know, like, you know where you're headed. So I heard one time, a long time ago, they said Jay-Z has a company to help basketballers. He noticed that basketballers, in their peak, they will make a lot of money, and after they leave the NBA, money is gone. And so he did something like a company. He signs them off and then helps them so that their money is working for them even after. There are some young people, as Gen Z like to say, in the trenches that have talent. And one day they may just blow, and then it goes, do you have a plan, or do you have something already on ground to help these our young ones coming out? Can someone that hasn't made it yet or has a talent approach you and then work with that person up until, you know, they make it?
Yes, definitely. One of the biggest problems of any artist is access to finance, right? And that's one of the first solutions that we're trying to tackle at DMC, which led us to open a marketplace called Orange Fund. So the marketplace basically is you go into that marketplace, you see different options of access to finance. So what we do is we go to private investors. You know, one of the problems with investors is that they put their money in, they don't see the money coming out. And our conversation with them is you're putting the money in, but you're not doing the right thing. So you're just throwing money at the wall, you know, just throwing money at things that don't make sense, to buy car, to buy it. That's not the product you should invest in. So we're talking to the investors and saying, this is what we're going to do for you. If you give us 100 million, in 5 years, you're going to get 150 million. How that's going to happen is not your business. That's where we come in and we're standing as guaranteed. So for the artists, we're saying there are different solutions. Like the first solution we launched is, if you're already doing a stable amount of money, say $100 a month on any of the platforms, music platforms that you put your music on for at least 6 months, you can borrow against like 10 times of that. So you can get $10,000 to be able to go and do your music and come back and promote, which increases your stream. Now, what we've also found out we launched it July 1st, and in the first 4 weeks, we found out that many African artists won't be able to qualify for that. So what we're now doing is we're doing specific A&R, that's artist development, and picking these people that are in the too small range and having sessions with them and saying, okay, your music is this, your music is that. We're going to set up this team with you to help you, to build you to the extent where you can make stable money every month.
The business of music.
Now, when we do that, there's another fund we're launching at the end of the year with local investments saying, okay, this is a 100 million fund, and we're going to take out 30 million from that for this artist because we've worked with you for 6 months. We've checked out your character. We've checked out that. Because that's another thing. We invest in you, and they just decide that, run away or act,
you want to be
crazy.
Smoking ribbon.
So it's like, so we take from that fund and say, okay, for the next 1 year, we're going to build with you a project to ensure that you start making money so you can pay back that loan. So basically what we're doing is, most of my clients will they want to go to the bank to get money. They can't. They'll tell them, go and bring a house. And these guys, they don't own houses. What they own is the music. So what we've done is that we're now using their music as collateral, you know, with private investors and banks and everything. So yes, we have that solution. It's going to be rolled out in phases between now and the next 1 year. You know,
that's interesting. This is I was going to ask you about the comedy industry, because I know they're also entertainment, but is it very difficult to identify what is IP within the comedy industry? Is it like can you steal jokes? Is it possible? Can you
and then skits too.
Yeah, skits. So how do we put structures in these various segments of the entertainment industry?
So you see, the beauty of the entertainment industry is so broad, right? And I'm such a specialization person. So even when I was coming as law, I said it was entertainment law or nothing. So if you bring your land to me, I'll just be looking at it. I'll direct it to someone else. Same thing with the music, with the entertainment industry. I said music and film. And now even in music, I'm saying this specific part this way, because there's a lot, you know. But for comedy, I've worked, you know, with a couple of comedians, and what we used to do back then was for every season they had, because I don't know if you noticed that a lot of them, like for this year, there's a particular set of jokes they tell. So what we do is we make them write it in a book, and we notify that. So
this is theirs.
So we notify it with the Copyright Commission and say this compilation of jokes, you know, belongs to this person.
Wow.
Now the problem is now that many of them don't like to enforce. So if someone steals the joke,
they leave it to go viral.
Yeah. So the question is like, do you want to spend that much money to chase someone that is broke? Yeah. But however, if that person goes to perform it on television or a video streaming platform,
you gotta pay.
I'll go for the video streaming platform because they have money to pay me.
So you wait.
Yeah. So that's like
wait for them to slip. Oh, nice.
So that's the business of it.
You want to go?
Yeah, I wanted to just, you know, I've heard so much about what you do. I wanted to talk about you.
Yes.
So tell us about yourself.
That's interesting because I've had people ask me this question a lot, and it led me to saying, okay, next year I'm going to just put out a book about myself. So it's called So Far So Fuza. It's basically just my life. You know, the last 30 years, a lot of people think I come from privilege because of the surname. You know, so I always have to correct people that I'm from. I lost my dad at a very young age, and I was raised by a single woman who worked heavily. You know, I went to the best schools. I've had the best thing in life, not because it was easy, but because one person sacrificed, you know. So for me, I always owed it to myself to be the best at what you know. My dad's death shook me a lot.
What age did it happen?
At 11, you know. So, and it was typically the interesting story of grace to grass, you know.
No,
just
from grass to grace, you were right.
No, from actually,
okay, when he was alive.
You know, so it was like, you know, you were chilling in your house with everything was sorted, 3 housemates, everybody's cool. Next one you wake up, it's gone because, you know, there was no will written, and like, you know, it's a polygamous family, everybody comes in, and you're just like left in the... So I came at life very, you know, fast, and when people ask me and say, oh, you found your purpose early, I'm like, yes.
The world shook you in that direction.
The world shook. And also, I just feel like I'm one of those people that God has, you know, earmarked and said that, you know, this is your purpose and this is where you're...
I love it.
And I tell people that my purpose is to create sustainable wealth for African creatives. So if there's anything outside of that, I can't do it. And also, I can't leave the continent. So every time people are like, oh, it's time to jackpot, I'm like,
nah,
we got to do the work.
You're making dollars here.
So of course, I would say we have your background. We have that in common. I also, my mom is just my life. I mean, I'm here because she sacrificed a lot. So when I see and hear someone to who another person has made a sacrifice, I just, you know, connect on that level. But so apart from your mother, you mentioned one mentor. Who were your mentors throughout your journey, and how would you say they impacted you?
So Miss Uduak, she basically was just dedicated to something that was, you know, when it's just one person in the past and just like clearing grass and clearing, she literally is the foundation for many entertainment lawyers out of Nigeria and Africa, because she used to write a lot and helped us to understand stuff. Another person was Tosin Bucknor, God rest her soul. Tosin just saw me and was like, I like your passion, I like your fire. And when we go out, she'd be like, have you met this young girl? You know, and nothing. She never collected anything from me. She just saw that light. I was like, I'm just going to open doors for you. And opened it, and I met Osage, Osarikon. I can't pronounce the name, but Osage. Osage is she used to be the manager for Whiskey and currently the current country manager for 1RPM, one of the leading companies in music. Osage literally made me, like, she would call me and be like, you're talking too much on Twitter, you know, you're talking too much on Instagram. And literally gave me my first client that paid me $1 million. You know, naira, and just because she was like, I see what you're doing, I think you're very dedicated, I want to open the door for you. Nothing, never asked for anything. You know, so women have been very instrumental in my path. Now I have business mentors, you know, like Bella Disu. It's just the humility in the midst of so much affluence and wealth, you know, and the class and the eloquence. And I also have Temilade Adeniji, managing director for Sub-Saharan West Africa. And it's just like,
so mentors are important.
Yeah, very important. And for me, they're all women. You know, all women.
Now, I see you've had...
Are you dating?
I'll ask my mom.
You don't
No,
want
I'm
to tell
not.
us.
No, I'm not.
Okay, you're not dating right now. I was going to, because you seem to have worked with K1, the Ultimate.
Yes.
And whiskey. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you manage these different kinds of clients? You think that, okay, is it the same model, or you have to do certain things for certain kind of clients in the entertainment industry?
No, it's different. Like, when I'm talking to my Egun, it's on the knees. we don't care if it's music or not. Like, there's respect. I deal with a lot of legacy catalogs, so I'm talking to your K1s, I'm talking to
Sonia Day.
Yeah, Sonia Day, the Ebenezer Obeys. So I'm a Yoruba girl. When you're entering the house, they don't care whether it's music you came for. You kneel down and have a conversation. You know, there's the respect there. Also, like, for the younger guys, because there's the millennial crowd, which is Whiskey, David, Burner, you know. So it's different. We're pairs, you know. But it's also like, you have to be... I can't be as uptight as when I'm in a normal law firm wearing suit and tie. So it's most times on a Monday, you see me on jeans. And I'm chilling in the office and we're having an informal conversation, but that's all the conversation we need to have. Now with the Gen Zs, it's literally, I had to employ like a younger, because I'm like, the language is so different. I know
younger than you?
Yeah, like, it's like, like, you know, they're talking about like, one day one of my clients was like, oh, I'm depressed. I was like, so innocently, I was like, so what's causing your depression? And she literally looked at me and said, do you think if I knew I'd be depressed? I was like, Jesus Christ.
I know them.
I was like,
I can only imagine what
I was like,
have to do.
okay, I honestly, like, because if I told you I was depressed, in my mind, I was like, I would have to figure it out. But I now learned that the manner at which I said it wasn't emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
So I had to recruit someone that understood the language better. And when I was employing, I told the person, I said, the reason why we had such a hectic time in 2020 was because our government didn't understand how to speak to that demographic. You know, so they were speaking, but they were speaking to not the 70% of the population. That was the problem. So, you know, that was the problem. You know, they were
so now,
70%.
You know that the way government sees this thing is the way we talk to constituted authority.
Yeah,
these people don't care.
You know, so I have to wrap up this. Someone could ask me a question here, saying that he's also a lawyer trying to get into intellectual property. Like, how much can he earn? Like, what's the potential in this industry? Potential earning power. Is it lucrative? I think it's if you ask me, I think it's the most lucrative.
I think it's the most lucrative.
Right now, it is a sweet time to come in. When we came in, it wasn't sweet. But for you now, you have easy access. It's like, it's very decentralized. You know, some of us have, like, we're already choked up with work. So there's work for everybody now. It's just that is the survival of the fittest, is the smartest in the room that gets the job.
You look like a workaholic. I hope you have time to do some things as a young girl.
To
all some engines as a young girl.
We try.
She's saying, should we matchmake you? Maybe we'll find somebody for you.
We'll find somebody to give you.
Our mom is watching. Please, ma, we're sorry. We're well-behaved women. She's a hard.
No, I love it. But it's just I don't think I'm in the headspace yet.
Yeah, you need to settle.
Yeah, I don't think I'm.
Auntie, time is going. Time is going. Do it now. This is the time for you to do it. I'm just messing with you.
It's so lovely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
much. Actually, before they come for me on social media, I actually believe every woman's time is when you choose.
Yeah,
it's not about what's time.
It's not about marriage. Everything's not about marriage.
You see that talk she talk. The reality of it is far. Just choose.
That's all we can take on the Have a fabulous weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye.